Impact center mass, 2312. Silence swallowed the range. The colonel's smile died when he saw her sleeve cadet command. Not because of the shot, but because nobody understood how it just happened. At Redstone Garrison, wind cut across the desert like a blade, carrying the smell of burnt powder and dust. Rows of steel targets shimmered under the morning sun, each one marked with bullet scars from America's best generals, instructors, and veteran snipers filled the bleachers, men who'd built their careers around precision. And then came the cadet they didn't invite. Lara Kincaid stood at lane 12, her boots perfectly aligned with the painted line, 22 years old, 2 weeks from graduation. The patch on her sleeve still said U.S. Army Cadet Command. She wasn't supposed to be here, not in a competition reserved for combat-qualified marksmen, cadet. "This event is for operators," Colonel Pierce Maddox barked, hands on his hips. "You're not an operator." Lara didn't flinch. Permission to demonstrate. "Sir," the colonel smirked. "Demonstrate what? How to miss at 2 clicks." The laughter came easy from the crowd. A few officers leaned forward, waiting for the rookie to fold. But Lara moved with quiet precision, laying out her gear like ritual. Barrett MRAD, MK2 300 Norma Magnum. Night Force ATAC 73556, Kestrel 5700 Elite. Dope chart scribbled in tight handwriting. The man beside her, Master Sergeant Noah Briggs, had trained Rangers for 15 years. Even he paused when he saw her check wind and Coriolis manually. No laser rangefinder, no spotter, just instinct and discipline. "Cadet," he said quietly. "That target's 2-3-12 meters out. The best missed it all morning." "I know, Sergeant," Lara replied. Calm, clinical, but they aimed at what they saw. "I'm aiming at where the wind will be." She settled behind the rifle. Breathing slowed. Pulse dropped. The Kestrel screen blinked 9.6 mph crosswind, quartering left. She adjusted about 1.6 mils into the wind, then 0.2 mil for slight downhill slope. The world narrowed to one breath, one trigger press. A thunderous crack split the valley, and then silence. 4 seconds later, the red marker light on the far target flashed. Direct hit. Nobody moved. The technician repeated over the radio, "Target 12, impact center mass." Briggs let out a low whistle. Maddox stood frozen, color draining from his face. Lara simply rolled the bolt, cleared the chamber, and stood at attention, respectfully. "Sir," she said, voice steady, "may I retrieve my brass?" The colonel's reply was a whisper. "Who trained you?" Before Lara could answer, General Elias Whitaker, commander of Redstone itself, descended from the bleachers. His presence changed the air. Conversation stopped mid-word. "Cadet Kincaid," he said, studying her face. That was no guesswork. That was experience, just following basic training. "Sir," she replied. Whitaker turned to Maddox. "Have her report to Hangar Echo 4 tomorrow. 0600, STC-9 wants a look at this one." The crowd murmured. STC-9 wasn't on any official roster. Even the colonel's smirk vanished. As Lara gathered her rifle, she caught sight of a man standing near the range tower, gray hair, civilian clothes, mirrored sunglasses. He wasn't clapping. He was watching her like he already knew her name, and when their eyes met, he turned away, speaking quietly into a secure radio. "Target confirmed. She shoots exactly like him." From the tower above, Colonel Maddox watched in silence, headset live on an encrypted channel the base didn't own. "Sound off your location. Soldier, Stories Unseen continues. Mission 2 launches soon." The summons arrived before dawn. A single envelope lay on Lara's bunk, no insignia. Just one line stamped across the seal: "Report to Hangar Echo 4, 0600. She'd heard the rumors. Echo 4 wasn't on any base map. People who went there didn't come back to morning drills. By 00:558, she was outside, desert wind tugging at her sleeves. 2 MPs in matte black gear waited by the door. One scanned her badge, The other, her eyes, Cadet Lara Kincaid. The taller one said, "You're late. It's 0559, Sergeant." He smirked. Inside, the doors sealed behind her with a hiss. Fluorescent panels ignited row by row, revealing a hangar packed with tech she'd only read about: wind tunnels, live fire tracks, prototype drones. At the far end stood General Elias Whitaker beside a man who looked built from silence itself, Commander Owen Rourke. Rourke's gaze locked on her. "So, you're the one who embarrassed half my shooters, Sir, I was just following procedure." He cut in. "You read the wind by eye. 9.6 cross. No laser. That's not procedure. That's instinct." Whitaker stepped closer. "Your record shows bloodline military. Your father, Master Sergeant James Kincaid, lost during Operation Night Relay." Lara's jaw tightened. "Yes, sir." Whitaker's tone softened by a hair. "You inherited more than his name." Then to Rourke. "You want her. She's yours." He turned to her. "Welcome to STC-9 Special Training Cell 9. You didn't earn a transfer. You earned a classification." A steel shutter lifted, revealing 5 figures in combat rigs: Sergeant Reed Halverson, Staff Sergeant Maya Rojas, Tech Sergeant Ethan Vu, Corpsman Derek Winters, Analyst Zoe Talbot. Different branches, no insignia. Rourke gestured. "We train the ones who don't fit anywhere else. That includes you." Rojas folded her arms. "We're bringing a cadet into a black cell unit. Relax." Halverson muttered. "Maybe she'll take notes." Lara ignored him. She was already mapping the range layout angles. Wind channels. The subtle pattern of targets sliding behind steel panels. Rourke's voice snapped her focus back. "First evaluation: 5 targets, 5 patterns, 30 seconds, wind shifts randomized, engage." No briefing, no second chances. She dropped prone. The Barrett MRAD MK-22 fitting against her shoulder like memory. First target moving right, impact clean. Second drone zigzagging through a fog burst, hit. Third gust changed mid-flight. Miss, adjust, center mass. Fourth and fifth double rail run, 1 high, 1 low, 2 squeezes, 2 perfect impacts. The hangar fell silent except for the cooling hiss of the rifle. Rourke lowered his tablet. She just cleared the hardest scenario in record time. Halverson swore softly. Whitaker smiled. "Looks like she's inherited the impossible." Rourke studied her. Tone unreadable. "Who taught you to shoot like that, my father?" "Sir." His eyes flickered something between memory and warning. He said the same thing once, before she could answer. Alarms ripped through the hangar. Red strobes flashed. "Unauthorized access," Data Wing C blared over the intercom. Operator sprinted past. Whitaker barked into his radio. "Lock it down. Nobody moves." Lara caught a glimpse of the surveillance feed, someone in civilian clothing bypassing a secure door with a Halcyon badge. The same man she'd seen watching her at the range. Rourke turned sharply. "Cadet, stay here." But she was already moving toward the corridor. Through the glass walkway, she saw him again, gray-haired, calm, swiping a keycard that shouldn't exist. When he looked up, their eyes met. He smiled, lifted his radio. Target confirmed. She shoots exactly like him. The feed cut. Power dropped to emergency lights. The hum of the servers faded into silence. Behind her, Rourke's voice cracked through static. "Kincaid, get back here now." She didn't move, because above the observation deck, a shadow lingered, watching her through the glass. Colonel Pierce Maddox. He said nothing, just watched her leave. Expression unreadable. Headset still linked to an encrypted channel no one on base had clearance to monitor. The lights died. Steel slammed behind her, and the man below smiled like he'd just closed a trap. Lara pivoted off the glass, weapon high, eyes adjusting to the red emergency wash. Footsteps hammered the catwalk. Radios crackled on encrypted channels she wasn't cleared to hear. "Data Wing C is sealed." A voice boomed over the PA. "General Whitaker, all units, Condition read, Commander Rourke, take STC-9 and cordon the vault. Lara keyed her M17's light, thumbed it off again. Too bright. She slipped to nods. The world turned green and granular. Down in the server bay, technicians yanked drives, security doors cycling like jaws. The gray-haired civilian tapped his badge once, twice, then walked into a blind corridor that shouldn't have opened. Not base standard, not Army at all. Cadet Kincaid Rourke's voice snapped from behind. He'd ghosted in out of the dark, rifle at low ready, breathing even, behind him. Rojas, Halverson, Vu. Winters moved like a single organism. With us. Tight formation. They flowed along the upper rail, clearing corners with quiet, practiced angles. Halverson covered rear, muttering. Love a good blackout on a classified floor. Rojas shot him a look that shut him up. Below. The civilian glanced back up straight at Lara. A small tilt of the head. Recognition. Then he vanished through a mag-locked door labeled Aurora Systems. Rourke saw it too. He shouldn't have that access. Then who gave it to him? Lara asked. He didn't answer. The catwalk shuttered security gates, releasing somewhere deeper. A clack of bolts. The smell of hot wiring. Negative pursuit. Whitaker ordered over net, contain. Don't chase. We don't fight our own facility. Rourke switched to unit tac, STC-9 Delta course. Now, they hit a blast door. It rolled up to a kill house lit by strafing skylights, plywood walls, doorways wired with sensors, steel silhouettes on rails. Fans punched crosswind down the lanes 9 to 11 mph, quartering. A test range disguised as a room. Assessment 2, Rourke said. Face unreadable, non-lethal, blue rounds only. Kincaid on glass. 30 seconds, 5 threats, timed wind shifts. He racked a marker round into a Barrett MRAD MK22 with blue tape on the mag. Let's see if the miracle scales under pressure. Halverson's smile was too casual. Try not to choke. Lara ignored him. She checked the ITACR's turret's elevation zeroed. Windage zeroed, then froze. The cap was warm. The windage mark off by a hair. Upright. A 0.6 mil walk. Subtle. Lethal for anyone who trusted gear more than brain. Someone had touched her glass. Problem, Rourke asked. Negative? She didn't look up. She dialed nothing. She'd hold it by feel. Go, Rourke said. The course came alive. Silhouette 1 slid left to right. She held 2/10 low left. Broke the shot. Impact paint bloomed center chest. Fans surged. 2 targets crossed at staggered speeds. She read the wind in the streamer line. Saw the flag hesitate. 1 shot, adjust. 1 more. Both kissed clean. 3 clean. Vu called. Feeding data from a tablet. Wind shift incoming in 5. The gust hit early. Halverson flinched. Lara didn't. She adjusted a full mil into the empty space where the bullet would be when wind dragged it back. Trigger. A steel head snapped backward. 4. Winters grinned despite himself. The last target was a micro-drone on a rail strobe blazing. Smoke bleeding, the rail angling upward into glare. She blinked grit. Tasted copper in the back of her throat. The drone juked left. She let it go right. Squeezed, held, breathed. The paint marker popped directly through the strobe. Silence. Then someone exhaled the breath the entire hangar had been holding. Rojas nodded once. Respect, not praise. Halverson swallowed a joke and found none. Rourke checked his tablet. No smile. Just a long, quiet look. You compensated for a 0.6 mil shift without touching the dial. I don't dial a problem I didn't cause, Lara said. He lifted the rifle, checked the turret, set it back to true. His voice dropped. Somebody did. The PA cracked again. Whitaker, tighter now. Update internal credentials were used to breach Aurora staging. All stations prepare for blue-on-blue deconfliction. Blue-on-blue, friendly-on-friendly. The kind that breaks units from the inside. Maddox strode in like he owned the room. MP's at his shoulders. Stand down. STC-9. I'll take it from here. Rourke didn't move. On whose authority mine? Maddox snapped, flashing a tablet with half a redacted order. Task Force Meridian is assuming perimeter control. STC-9 is compromised by an unknown leak. He looked straight at Lara when he said it. Halverson bristled. Rojas stepped between. Rourke's rifle never lifted, never dropped. Just there, sir, Lara said. Careful, neutral. Who was the civilian in Data Wing? Maddox's gaze didn't flicker. No civilians in Data Wing. You misidentified. Lies should be louder. This one was a whisper. Commander! Whitaker came in person now. Expression carved from stone. You keep your team. Colonel, you get your perimeter. We don't eat our own to make sense of a bad hour. Maddox's jaw worked. He nodded. Too slow. Copy. He left with his MPs. Phone already at his ear. The doors sealed. The hangar felt smaller. Rourke finally turned to Lara. You saw the tamper before the first shot. Yes, sir. He opened his mouth, closed it like he decided to choose a different truth. Keep your kid on you. No armory holds. From now on, you trust your hands, not our locks. Rojas slid a med patch across the bench. Kincaid. Lara looked up. The staff sergeant's tone wasn't friendly, but it wasn't hostile. Next time you see something off, say it sooner. Lara nodded. Roger. They cycled weapons, cleared chambers. The red lights dimmed to amber. You could taste the power still humming in the walls. Cadet, a voice said softly at Lara's shoulder. Major Eva Cross stood there, no footsteps, no shadow. She'd materialized from the dark like a bad idea that learned to walk. Instructors could do that when they wanted to. Walk with me. Rourke watched them go. Unreadable. Cross led her along a corridor lined with blast glass and shut doors, past a viewing port that showed an empty range, lights still swinging. She stopped where the cameras didn't quite see. I'm going to say this once, Cross said. Eyes on the corner ceiling mount. In this building, chain of command is a story we tell each other so we sleep at night. I follow orders. Ma'am, Lara said. Good. Cross said. Follow this one. You're being measured for something that doesn't carry a unit crest. If you don't want it, run. Lara's mouth went dry. What is it? Cross's expression didn't change. Open your ruck. Lara unzipped the pack. On top of her dope card, something that hadn't been there lay wrapped in black tape the size of a Zippo. No markings. No weight you could trust. Cross kept her voice flat. You'll find a way to justify this later. Lara peeled the tape. A steel micro drive slid into her palm. Someone had scored 3 letters into the case with a blade. WSH. Warden Shadow. There was a note rubber banded around it. Paper creased as if someone had folded it on a moving truck. The handwriting was tight. Disciplined. Nothing wasted. Cross took one step back. Into the light. A teacher again. Have a nice day. Cadet. Report to the simulator at 1300. She was gone before the echo finished. Lara stood alone in the dead zone of the camera's blind arc, the hum of the bass turning into the sound of blood in her ears. She unfolded the note with her thumb. 2 lines, that was all. If you want to know why James Kincaid disappeared, open this inside the Aurora vault. The sirens wouldn't die. Red strobes pulsed through concrete corridors, painting STC-9 in rhythmic flashes of warning. Smoke from Vega's charge still clung to the air engine oil. Copper. Plaster, the smell of a truth being buried alive. Lara cinched a bandage across Rojas's arm. Hold pressure. Rourke crouched beside a dead comms rack, trying to pull life from its wires. Airfield's gone black. Commands revoking our credentials one by one. 5 minutes, maybe less. Each terminal died in sequence, like the base was swallowing its own memory. STC-9 wasn't being quarantined. It was being erased. Sir, Lara said, Vega called me Phase 7, said my father imprinted me. Rourke's hand stopped moving. He would explain. He slid a cracked slate across the table. Project Iris. Candidate 07, DNA Link J, Kincaid. Halcyon tried to condition shooters to fire before thought. He said, "Your father exposed it. They made him vanish. We were told STC-9 was training. It's collection." Rojas's voice dropped. "So we're not soldiers, we're data points. Not anymore." Rourke jammed a bypass into a side panel. "Down the maintenance shaft. Now!" They descended into cold air and generator hum. At the bottom waited a blast door stenciled Aurora Vault. Lara slid the Warden Shadow drive into the reader. The lock side open. Blue light bathed the chamber. Rows of servers whispered behind ballistic glass. In the center, a single console blinking like a pulse. A voice spilled from hidden speakers. Worn but clear. "If you're hearing this, Lara, I didn't keep you out. Iris doesn't predict enemies, it predicts us. Every shot becomes instruction. I killed the Link once. You'll have to kill it again." James Kincaid's voice, calm, undeniable. Lara froze. "He was here." Rourke checked metadata. "Timestamp 3 months ago," Rojas whispered. Then Vega never left the building. Motion sensors blinked red. Boots approached. Major Eva Cross stepped in, visor up. "Carbine low ready. Lower your weapons. This site is under Halcyon control." Rourke didn't blink. "You were ours. I was effective," she replied. Cross had trained under Vega years ago, before vanishing from Delta R&D. Now she'd brought his playbook home. "You ran his code through our people." Rojas hissed. "I refined it," Cross said. "Vega pays for results. Loyalties for soldiers with pensions." She raised her rifle. Rourke moved to shield Lara. The shot hit his plate hard, dumping him to a knee. Rojas returned fire. Sparks rained from shattered glass. Lara sprinted to the console, heart hammering. Her father's note echoed in her head. "Kill the Link." She dove into the code. A failsafe flickered. "Legacy protocol user DNA required. It needs his signature." She gasped. "Then find him." Rourke wheezed. "He's gone." Cross's voice drifted through static. "And now they'll erase you." The screens flared white, then bled to static. Text began typing itself across every monitor. "Incoming signal source J. Kincaid. Silence." Rourke's voice cracked. "Authenticated." Lara watched the hash confirm perfect match. Coordinates appeared: Sierra Grid, Falcon Summit Overlook. A second line followed, pulsing in real time. "Bring the drive. Come alone." Cross exhaled. "He's baiting you with your better self." Maddox's voice cut through the PA flat. "Surgical. All units detain Rourke. Secure Kincaid. Halcyon convoy wheels up in 5. Rotor wash built above them." Lara gripped the microdrive. It felt heavier than steel. Rourke caught her eye. "Don't run to him. Run with a plan." The cursor blinked once more, printing a final message. "Trust data, not rank." The ceiling lights flickered, then steadied, as if the base itself had chosen a side. And somewhere above, a helicopter door slammed. The message hit like a pulse. Falcon Summit coordinates burned into the screen, kept flashing in Lara's mind, long after they fled Redstone's ruins. Hours later, the team's stolen UH-60 skimmed low over the desert. Rourke piloted with one arm bound, face gray from bruised ribs. Rojas manned the door gun. Dust trails chased their wake like ghosts, signals repeating every 60 seconds. Vu reported, "Authentic Kincaid encryption." Rourke met Lara's eyes. "It's him." They touched down on the ridge at dawn. Wind tore at their gear. Thunder crawled along the horizon. A lone figure waited near the overlook, rifle slung, face hidden beneath an old recon balaclava. He spoke first. "Took you long enough." "Lara." She knew the voice. "Dad." James Kincaid stepped into the light, older, harder, alive. "You were never supposed to find this place," he said. "Then why leave the signal? Because Vega's coming for you, and because they turned my unit into ghosts." He handed Rourke a small pack of drives. Everything Halcyon built, their backups, contracts, ghost protocols. "It's all here. Get it out." Rourke nodded. What about you? Someone has to make sure Vega never launches again. Below them, headlights climbed the ridge task force meridian. Maddox leading. His voice blared over loud-hailers. Surrender the drives and step away from the cliff. James gave Lara a small bronze falcon pin. Aim for the future, kid. I'll handle the ghosts. He stepped into the open, drawing fire with surgical precision. Rourke seized Lara's arm. Now they sprinted for the exfil ridge. Rounds sparked against rock. Rotor thunder rose above the storm. When they reached the helo, Lara turned once more. The ridge was empty, only the falcon pin lay glowing in the rain. As the Black Hawk lifted through the squall, Anselm Point burned on the horizon, Vega's servers collapsing in a cascade, triggered by James Kincaid's final code. Data streamed across the world, exposing Halcyon's empire. Rourke looked at Lara. You realize what comes next? She clipped the pin to her vest. STC-9 doesn't exist, but we do. He managed a tired smile. Precision's nothing without purpose. She watched dawn break over the ridgeline. Then let's finish what he started. The helicopter disappeared into morning haze, leaving only wind, silence, and the echo of a single, perfect shot.